What's going on, everybody? I think it's working. Vinny talk. Yeah, we did it. We did it.
There we go. Shout out Bruce. Shout out Bruce for his hard work. I was sitting here diddling on Twitter while you were at hard work trying to get us on. So shout out to you.
Let's double check.
Yeah, make sure the people can hear me. Hopefully everyone hears me well. Happy Thursday. I'm fighting through. I've been up since 6 a.m. Couldn't sleep. Cried myself for a few hours last night after watching the draft.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, like we were saying in the first one. Well, and we were saying last time. I mean, I think I sound better today, right, Vinny? Is this? Like
I'd say you sound better.
A good assumption.
I'll have to. I mean, I got to see what it sounds like when we're done because it's this new setup we got. It looks very different for me compared to how it does for everybody else.
Into a Discord call.
I'm literally just on a Discord chat with you right now. Hopefully it sounds good. I mean, I know, but we'll deal with I'll deal with your camera glitching out a little bit, but we'll push through. As long as everyone can hear us,
I think my mic is still kind of shot. I don't really know why, but we're back, everybody. It doesn't matter. We actually made it. Yeah, working with a new way of streaming.
Working out the kinks.
I was about to say, I guess it has its learning curve.
Everyone says podcast equipment should be more expensive. No, it's expensive enough.
Yeah,
all right?
Bro.
As is.
I'm gonna try and put it as close to my mouth as I can. Maybe that'll. Yeah, everybody was clowning on me that day.
You sound pretty loud now.
Okay, well maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, we had an intro. I hope the intro turned out good. We had a little. I don't know. I made it just to have one for now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I still got to send some better clips for that, but I hope everyone enjoyed watching me sled down some stairs. Well, I don't even know what the other clip. I don't even know what other clip I sent you. Oh, we got to put it back up. We are in fact live.
We are in fact live once again.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there wasn't that much going on over the last couple of days to talk about. I mean, there's baseball, of course. No really big trades or anything around baseball. Excuse me. Yankees get a much needed win. Bruce's Red Sox. They lost yesterday. Did not see that. Yusei Kikuchi with 12 strikeouts. Jeez.
Yep.
But hey, your Red Sox are returning home, so that'll be good for them. They got a couple of home series coming up against Toronto and Cincinnati, so we'll see what happens there. You know, it's kind of a whole new team after trading Rafael Devers. So
yeah, it's.
I mean,
we're not like
they're still kind of in the division.
We're not out of the playoff race, but it's not looking too hot.
They're only 7 games back from the Yankees. I mean, with the way the Yankees have been playing lately, that's very catchable.
I think we're only 2 games back of playoffs.
For the wild card, yeah, 2.5, yeah. 2.5 back, not bad. There's a lot of teams. I mean, it's way too early to be thinking about wild card races and stuff, but there's a lot of teams just mixed in here. I mean, you automatically have 2 from the American League East getting the top 2 spots right now, and then you got Seattle, Cleveland, Boston, Who else is in there? Texas.
Oh, I was
The
like, what's
Angels.
that
The Angels
sound?
are actually fighting for a
Holy
playoff
dude, I
spot.
thought my AC was about to explode. I was like, what is that sound? It was just like an ad. Just an ad on
No, I was watching before we got on. I was watching some video on Twitter of this guy, like one of those animated or like one of those animations showing something this guy did. He like climbed to the top of this skyscraper or something, and then it turned into an ad for some electronics store. Like
Yep.
it was like the guy fell off the tower, started parachuting, was parachuting into a door, and all of a sudden the door opened and he fell right into this store with cheap laptops and whatever. And I was like, are you kidding me? Wasted 5 minutes of my life for that. Anyways, speaking of wasting time of my life, I can't believe I waited up 2 hours. 2 hours I waited for the Miami Heat to take their draft pick at number 20. And do you know, Bruce, why I'm so disappointed?
Why are you so disappointed?
It's because out of the two guys, there were two names that I mentioned to people asking me who I wanted Miami to draft. Of course, Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. We knew that. And I would have taken Nolan Traore, however you pronounce his name, that point guard from France. Those two guys went the 2 picks right before Miami. Literally 18 and 19. But
Yes, sir.
I digress. That's why I was upset last night. But I guess we could dive into more of the draft here. I mean, Cooper Flagg went number 1. That's really not a shock to anybody.
I'm so surprised.
I saw somebody put the house down. It was like 120 to win 120 and 87 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no chance Cooper Flagg doesn't go number 1. I'm curious to see how the Dallas Mavericks do next season. When you got Kyrie Irving back after like December, Clay, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively. Now you add Cooper Flagg to the mix. That's a pretty good basketball team. You know, good enough to at least, I feel like, make a playoff push depending on how healthy all those guys are.
Yeah, and I guess their odds are like plus 3,200 to win the NBA championship now when they drafted Cooper Flagg.
I mean, like, if they can stay healthy, I wouldn't call that a bad bet. I thought last year when the Luka Anthony Davis trade went down, I thought that healthy Mavericks team would have been pretty good. Would have at least, you know, competed for a couple playoff series.
Yeah.
Now you add Cooper Flagg into the mix, and I mean, he's young. You know, he's the second youngest player to be taken since LeBron, but he could have an immediate impact. I mean, it's kind of perfect for him. He's getting drafted to a place where he doesn't have all this immediate pressure. He can kind of just go out, be a small forward, get some rebounds, get some assists, shoot a little bit. He doesn't have to control that whole entire offense. So I feel like, you know, Cooper Flagg's already a lock for Rookie of the Year, but he honestly might be. No, I'm not gonna go so far as to call him a potential All NBA talent. I can't do that. But I think he's gonna be even better than I think people expect him to be.
I mean, yeah, don't jump on your high horse just yet. I mean, make all the takes you want, but you know, we could always come back to him when he ends up like sucking.
Well, I don't think we're gonna come back to that.
Well, that'd be funny though. That'd be really funny.
Yeah. And then Dylan Harper went number 2 to San Antonio. That's a real interesting situation they got going on over there because you got 3 really good point guards in Dylan Harper. Stephon Castle just won Rookie of the Year, and they just traded for De'Aaron Fox last season. And don't forget they have Victor Wembanyama.
Wemby.
So I don't know what they're gonna look like next year. They got some stuff to figure out, it seems, but I mean that's gonna be an exciting team to watch too. It's weird, like all the top picks in this draft were by teams that you would have at least expected to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I feel like this was just a weird season in general all around. When it comes,
your mic definitely got louder. You did.
Yeah, well, I've been messing with the audio while you've been talking.
You're like booming right now.
Yeah, well, you know, it's better than being like hella quiet. So we're gonna roll with it. Your ears just gotta bleed. Maybe you just gotta turn down your computer audio.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Let me turn mine down, see if that helps.
Yeah, I
at
mean
all.
the Celtics got some guy that he's been playing with Luka Modric over in Spain. In Spain, dude. He's been playing for Real Madrid.
Who did the Celtics end up drafting?
Hugo Gonzalez.
Hugo Gonzalez. He was just one of those international prospects.
Yeah. He's been playing with Luka Modric and Vinny Jr. and Kylian Mbappe and
Kylian Mbappe.
yeah, dude, he's been playing for Real Madrid.
Playing what? Has he been playing the right sport?
I don't know, man. All I heard was he's from Real Madrid.
Let's see, 6'6", aggressive wingspan, excellent frame. Inconsistent minutes have hindered his ability to demonstrate the potential. Wow, he only averaged 11 minutes per game for Real Madrid.
I know.
Looking like a lottery-level talent in multiple settings over the past several years, including in small doses this season. Highlight reel plays on both ends of the floor. Significant flashes of ability as a transition, scorer, pick-and-roll passer. All right, so they got a solid role-playing guard. I mean, when you're taking a guy at 28, you're not expecting a all-star anyway. You're just going for the best available player. I was surprised to see that McNeely get Utah. Yeah, dude, the trades were insane. I mean, Utah trading up to get. God, it hurts every time I have to say it. Utah trading up to get Walter Clayton. The real shocker was Portland trading up to get Yang. What was his name? Yang Hansen at 16. Apparently, that kid's like the Chinese Nikola Jokic, from what I'm hearing people say. I didn't watch much of him play, but 7 foot, really good passer. I mean, he was funny. When they drafted him, he came like out of the crowd. He wasn't down with the other green room invitees or whatever. He was there in the crowd with everybody, and he entered almost like in WWE when someone enters through the crowd. That's what it looked like. He just appeared out of nowhere. I couldn't even understand what you were saying.
I said he's back. I saw a thing. There's a guy I know that actually, he kind of follows international basketball. He just loves basketball. Where he knows the NBA a lot, but then he follows like international basketball. And he put out a video saying, "Be on the lookout," or like keep an eye on Ben Seraph, the kid out of Israel. I think the Nets.
Yeah, the Nets took him at 26.
Yeah, he said keep an eye out for Ben Seraph.
Yeah, he was another one that fell quite a bit. I mean, before the draft, all the pre-draft mocks had him going late lottery.
I mean, you guys got KJ, bro. You guys are like KJ's not a bad pick.
No, honestly, Jack Kashonis was a pretty good pick. Like, for him to be top 10 on most guys' big boards and to fall to 20, you'll take that. The fact that he never worked out with the Heat is a little concerning, but they honestly, what that
didn't Walter Clayton work out with the Heat
twice, and then he canceled all other workouts with other teams. They were gonna take Walter Clayton at 20 before Utah traded up. I'm telling you, they were gonna take him.
Wait, Utah got him? Or Washington got him?
Utah traded for that pick and traded up to get him. That's what I'm saying, dude. The draft is so confusing with how many trades are going on, and none of them are finalized. So, like, every time Adam Silver comes out, he's got to be like
Utah. Okay, yeah. So there's two. There's from via. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
All right, but let's run down the draft real quick, right?
All right.
Cooper Flag. Give me your grade. I'll say a name. I'll say my quick little thoughts, and then You grade it. We'll have the Vinny. I can't think of a cool word grade. We'll have the Vinny.
Awesome grade.
The Vinny. The V Fred. We'll just have the Vinny grade. We'll call it the Vinny grade. All right, Cooper Flag. Obviously, Cooper Flag's great. Vinny, what's your grade?
I'm gonna have to give Cooper Flag an A+. No brainer. There was no thought going into that pick whatsoever. We knew when the lottery happened who the Mavericks were taking at number 1.
Yes. Number 2, Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. Obviously, the two boys out of Rutgers were great, despite not really doing anything in college basketball this year. Well, I mean, not like personally, but like having Rutgers not really do anything this year. Vinny?
It was crazy that Rutgers has 2 perennial top 5 talents and they can't even make the top 20. They can't even make the NCAA tournament, which was insane. But I think it's a good pick for the Spurs. I think he fits the Victor Wembanyama timeline way better than a guy like De'Aaron Fox does. You know, as much as San Antonio wants to win, Wemby's going into year 3. And if they're going to keep him around as long as they hope to, you got plenty of time to compete for a title. You know, you don't need to win it next year. I'm glad they held on to this pick. The only way I saw them trading it was for like Giannis Antetokounmpo. That didn't happen, so love the pick. I think San Antonio's got a bit of a guard situation to figure out, like I was saying before, but overall, I'll give it an A-. Best player on the board.
All right. At 3 to the Sixers, VJ Edgecombe. I personally love Edgecombe. I love VJ. I liked the way he played at Baylor. I don't know if he's a 3, like a 3rd overall pick, personally, based on like some of the other guys on the board and how they played in college, but also it comes down to how they think they'll suit the NBA and their style.
I'm going to give this one an A. Not necessarily an A+, because I don't think he's the most talented guy in the draft at number 3, but I think he's the best fit. He's a phenomenal defensive player, and you add him to a team that already has Paul George, who I know Paul George isn't the same as he used to, but the amount that he can learn from Paul George on how to be better at defense. After he got drafted, he talked about his story. This kid came from nothing, so he's got work ethic. He said he hates to see people scoring. That's why he loves locking down on defense. So I think this kid was 100% a top 5 talent. If Ace Bailey didn't tank his stock, maybe he falls to 4 or 5. But either way, they got a really solid player at number 3 and someone that I think fits their system kind of perfectly. They didn't need a point guard. They have Tyrese Maxey. They didn't need a big man. They needed a 3-and-D wing that can provide a spark on both ends of the floor. So I give this an A.
And at number 4 to the Hornets, Con Knipple. I like it. I like Knipple. Great 3-point shooter. Great just ball handler. Again, I don't know if he's a number 4 prospect, but he didn't playing on a team with Cooper Flag. A lot of people could say, like teammates could just kind of work around him, but I don't think Knipple did that. I think he kind of had his own game that helped the Blue Devils along the way, and he's just a great shooter and a great ball handler.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that he played alongside Cooper Flag, and I think that's a big, point in this selection is that they already have LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, so you know that they kind of have their star talent. They're more looking for pieces to fit around them, and if they went out and took Ace Bailey doesn't want to play with those guys. Ace Bailey wants to be the number 1 option, whatever. So, yeah, you go with Con Knipple. He might not be the most talented guy that you could have gotten, but he's played alongside star talent before, and he did a damn good job at it at Duke. And, this kid, it makes winning plays. He's a hustler. He's fighting for loose balls. He's diving on the floor. And I think that's part of the culture that Charlotte needs to establish, that they are going to be a tough, gritty team, kind of like what the Pistons are doing this year. So love the pick of Con Knipple. I'd give it like a B+ because there were definitely more talented players out there. But I think he was the perfect fit for Charlotte at number 4.
Number 5, the Jazz, Ace Bailey. Obviously, another Rutgers guy. Pretty much the same worries kind of had with Dylan Harper. Yeah, they're phenomenal players. They're insane players, but why are they not making the NCAA tournament?
Yep, that was always my question too. The short answer, they had no help around them. The long answer, there's a lot more that went into that. And you have 2 top 5 players, you should make the NCAA tournament no matter what. But it didn't really matter. They still had plenty of talent to go top 5. And, Ace didn't work out with the Jazz, didn't want to go to the Jazz. He really was trying to force his way to Washington or Brooklyn from what it seems. Didn't happen. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen. I honestly do feel that you're a rookie. You've never stepped foot on an NBA floor. You haven't earned the right to try and demand where you play or how you want to play, what system you want to play in. You just got to go out there and hoop. And, Utah, he's kind of getting what he wants. He didn't want to go to Utah, but he's going to have a clear path to being a star. The only issue with Utah is that's a lot of mouths to feed. We look later in the draft when they traded up for Walter Clayton Jr. That's another scoring guard. You have Keontae George, Colin Sexton. There's a couple more that are escaping me right now, but that's a lot of mouths to feed on the offensive side of the ball. I just think if you're Utah right here, you wanted a top 3 pick, you fell to 5 in the lottery. You couldn't have asked to get a better player. They got the most talented guy in the draft outside of Cooper Flagg. I'd give it an A- because you did get one of the best prospects, but you don't know how motivated this kid's going to be. Either way, he doesn't seem like he's getting in his own way, despite his pre-draft antics. He's still going to play. He's going to show up. He's going to collect his paycheck. But it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic of you're bringing in a talented rookie that doesn't want to be there. But I still think they got, pound for pound, the most talented player outside of Cooper Flagg in this draft. And worst case, if he really doesn't want to be there, that's an asset you can trade that I think is more valuable than the number 5 pick alone.
Yeah. Number 6, the Wizards, Trey Johnson, one of the best freshmen in college basketball last year. Absolute stud. Great shot maker. Kind of more from the perimeter, I feel. Like he could drive, but I think that's something, it wasn't necessarily one of his strengths, but he definitely put defenses on their heels.
Yeah, he was a dynamic shot maker is what they like to call him, and I'd probably give this one a B. Look, they got the best player on the board at that time. Do I think he's going to go in and make an immediate impact? No. I think the Wizards still have a lot of growing to do, but he's joining a young group with guys like Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr. They definitely have some room to grow, but overall, they did get the best player available at number 6. Obviously, they would have loved Ace Bailey or probably Con Knipple, but Trey Johnson is a solid pick, and they did just trade away Jordan Poole, so he might fill in that role of that shot chucker, if you will, pretty seamlessly.
Would you grade it?
I'd give that a B.
At number 7,
gotten, but
sorry,
not to cut you off.
What'd you say?
I was saying I don't know if he was the best player they could have gotten, but based on the big boards, he was the best available according to most people. So they were kind of just forced to pick him.
What? Number 7, New Orleans Pelicans, Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma, but he's got the hands. He's crazy, dude. Watching him play, I don't think there was a better ball handler in the country. Personally, this kid was disgusting. I feel like, I never really paid much attention to the defensive side of the ball when I watch basketball, but I feel like he may not have been the biggest presence on defense, but offensively he was a creator and he had damn good handles.
Yeah, I'll give this an A-. I'm feeling, Jeremiah Fears was definitely someone that a lot of teams I think might have passed on because Oklahoma wasn't that great in college hoops this year. They didn't really win that much. The kid is young; he's 17 years old, but like you were saying, Bruce, the kid has handles. His defense is going to be something he needs to work on, but at this stage of the draft, you really start thinking like you're either going best available player, or there's got to be a guy that you love that fits your team perfectly. Because you're not getting the top guys in the draft at number 7, but you could go with the best available player and just try to figure out a way to make him work. And I think that's what they did. And I honestly think Jeremiah Fears was a better prospect than Trey Johnson. But I mean, obviously, we'll see. They went back to back for a reason. They're both amazing, but it's going to be interesting to see how Fears coincides with DeJounte Murray and Zion and the rest of the guys there in New Orleans. And they just traded for Jordan Poole, so kind of similar to Utah. They got a lot of mouths they got to feed in New Orleans, and it'll be interesting to see how Jeremiah Fears adjusts to not being the guy with the ball in his hands every single play.
Yes, sir. And then number 8. An A?
A minus.
All right. At number 8, one of Brooklyn's 35 players they drafted last night, BYU's Igor Demin. I feel like he had a weird season. I feel like BYU in general had a weird season. But I feel like he can find the open man. He may not be necessarily a shooter, like the best shooter, especially from like the perimeter, but he can find the open man. He can he's a good ball mover. He's similar to like a Tyrese Halliburton in the sense that he moves the ball. He can double with assists.
Yeah, this was a surprise.
It shocked me. It definitely shocked me, but
they must have really liked this guy. I feel like there were other names. I'm gonna give this one a B minus. I think there were other names that would have helped them that we see get drafted, not long after Demin here, but they did get a big point guard, and big point guards are hard to come by. We've seen the way that guys like DeJounte Murray, Tyrese Halliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they can really abuse smaller guards with that height advantage because, you don't really have a choice. You got to put one of your guard defenders on him, and at 6'8", all he's got to do is get to his spots, and if he can get a semi-consistent mid-range shot, that'll space the floor that much better, and it'll help him find guys on backdoor cuts quite often. So I think he's a great playmaker. I do think he fits what they need because Cam Thomas can't be the point guard forever. He's your shooter. You got to get a guy to make plays for him. But I just think that there were more talented players in the draft at this point, and they had so many other picks that they could have looked at this guy at, or they could have combined to trade up if they thought he was getting taken soon. The whole Nets draft, and we'll talk about it more as we go through the picks, was a bit of a head scratcher for me.
So B minus, you said?
Yeah, B minus.
All right, at number 9, a man who did not want to go to Toronto. If you were watching the draft, he got caught bad. Colin Murray-Boyles out of South Carolina. Another kind of weird pick for me. I feel like he's great defensively, but South Carolina wasn't really a great team.
Trash.
Yeah,
they were trash.
I mean,
they won one game all year.
He was the best team. He was the best team. He was the best player on their team. I think he's a good defensive player. He might have some good playmaking ability. I don't think he's the best shooter. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird pick in my eyes to go in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a C plus. I will admit I did not watch a lot of South Carolina because, as I mentioned, they were trash in college basketball this year. This kid, from what I was seeing people saying about him pre-draft, people were really high on him.
He's good. He's
Jay
good.
Bilas had him.
There wasn't really many.
Jay Bilas did have him in the top 10 in his best available, but I just don't see how he fits what the Raptors are trying to do here. They have more wings than I've ever seen on a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they just traded for Brandon Ingram. You already have RJ Barrett. I know Emmanuel Quickly is a guard, but he's pretty tall. He's like 6'5". Grady Dick, two guard, 3-and-D kind of player. What they really needed was a point guard, in my eyes, unless you really want to make quickly the long-term point guard, or a center, because they really don't have that much talent in either of those positions. I'm pretty sure Jakob Poeltl was one of their best centers this past season. I mean, that just goes to show how little I watched the Toronto Raptors this year. But, and Scotty Barnes. That's where I get confused. This guy is basically a Scotty Barnes 2.0, at least in my eyes. Good defensive, lengthy wing. Doesn't, he's got questionable shooting. He's athletic, so he can score down low, but I don't know. Like I said, C+. He could be good. He was a bright spot on that very lowly South Carolina team, but you look at some of the other names that got drafted after him. I just don't see how teams rated this guy higher than some of the other players.
Fair enough. Number 10 for Phoenix, I believe it was a Phoenix pick. Kaman Maluak. Big boy. A big boy from Duke, young buck.
7-1.
Yeah. Rim protector. Great defensively, I feel like, in the interior in the paint. He's good. He's good down low. Again, a worry could be, he's playing with Cooper Flagg. He's playing with Con Knipple. Did that kind of help his game? I don't know. I thought he's a great player. But you got to weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah, he did have a star-studded team at Duke, and that certainly comes with its pros. Either way, I still think he did a good job at separating himself as, the clear big man on that team and not necessarily needing to rely on those guys. Look, is he a strong post-up player? No. Does he have offensive moves that he can use to get open shots? No, he's not a shooting big. But this guy is huge, 7'1", great rebounder, great interior defender, and you can definitely find him on some lobs on the pick and roll game. But to me, I'm for my grade, I'll give this. I'm gonna go with an A, because I think he was the best center in the draft. I mean, you can argue there's a lot of good centers. Derek Queen is a name that didn't go before him. Thomas Sorber from Georgetown, Yang Hansen out of China, who all would go later in the first round. I thought Maluak was the best center in the draft, and Phoenix, who was so abysmal at the center position last year, starting Miles Plumlee for games in 2025, and they expected to win those games. No. They fixed their big man problem in the span of 1 minute, because they drafted Maluak at number 10, the pick that they got from Houston for trading Kevin Durant. They also traded number 29 in the first round and a 2029 first round pick, right? It was 29 they traded. Yeah, they traded the 29th pick and a 2029 first for Mark Williams of the Charlotte Hornets. And Mark Williams, he's all right. He had his health problems, failed the physical last year, but he's a solid young center. And Phoenix went from having 0 centers to 2 pretty good young promising ones. So I give this an A. I think they did a phenomenal job at fixing what their gaping hole was in their starting lineup.
Already at 11, next up for the Memphis Grizzlies. They traded to get the 11th pick. Kind of weird to me. They take Cedric Coward. He didn't play much last year. He was hurt last season. He's good. Like, he's a good player. He can shoot well. Not coming out of necessarily a team that's great. Comparatively to, those teams you see in the NCAA tournament and the players you see more often. And being hurt last season, you didn't see him as much anyway. But I thought he was a good player. Do I think he's an 11th overall pick? Probably not. But I do think he's a good player. And I guess we could see what's going to happen. He's kind of just. He paved his own path. He went to, he paid his way to Eastern Washington or something like that. And then, he paid his way to a D3 school. He paid his own tuition, and then he went to Washington State. And he's kind of just paid his own path. That proves he's a grinder. and yeah, he can shoot, but yeah, he's been hurt. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's an interesting pick for sure. Surprised me. Um, I I guess I'll give it a B minus because you really don't know. You know, yet like you were saying, he only played in 6 games last year before he hurt his shoulder, so that's a very small sample size. Shoulder injuries are tough too because if it's on a shooting arm, I'm not sure which shoulder it was that he hurt, but if it's a shooting arm, that's something that can affect guys long term. Like we saw what happened to Markel Fultz after he went #1 and then forgot how to shoot a basketball. So it's a risky pick, but I think it's high risk, high reward. If this kid's really good, he's going to be phenomenal. He's got all the tools to be a star in the league. It's just a matter of does he actually have the ability to? Because we didn't get to see much of him. But they did just trade away Desmond Bain, so he might slide in as a perfect replacement for him. It might mean that he has a spot in the starting lineup. We'll have to see. But yeah, this one's just kind of a meh. Like it was a surprising pick. I'm not going to say it's a bad pick. The kid could be good, but we really just don't know.
yeah. I was trying to figure out what arm he hurt. I can't remember which shoulder it was. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it. I'm not gonna spend my time looking for that. Noah Asenge goes to the Chicago Bulls, and I'm not gonna give my thoughts on him because I don't know a single thing about international basketball. So, Noah Asenge, Vinny Fredericks.
Asenge is interesting. I'd probably give this a B plus. I think that he's huge. He's 6'10", but he can also play the guard spot. So he's got handles and playmaking ability. I was surprised to see him, go up this high. Because I mean, like you were saying, Bruce, I didn't watch much of him, but I know he's a very intriguing name. He had to skip the German league finals to be at the draft. So
Wow.
yeah, he was leading his team and winning a great deal while playing in Germany before the draft. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'll give it a B plus. Like with Chicago, I don't really know what they're doing over there. I mean, they've got they've got some solid guys in Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and Montes Buzelis, I think, is really good. He'll only continue to get better. I just don't know what route or what path the Bulls see themselves on. They don't have the tools for winning right now. Maybe this kid can become a star in a few years. I don't know. I think this is just one of those kind of similar to Cedric Coward, where it's like high risk, high reward. But if this kid becomes good, he has all the tools to be really, really good. I mean, a 6'10" forward who can play make. You're kind of talking about there's not many guys in the league that can do that besides, like Kevin Durant, LeBron James. You're talking about like real big forwards who also have the ability to play like a guard. I think it's a really good pick, but I have not seen enough of him to say that I love it or not.
Number 13, New Orleans Pelicans take Derek Queen, part of the prestigious Crab Five.
Lost to Florida.
Playmaker, shot maker. He can use his size. He may not be the fastest guy off the dribble, but he uses his size pretty well, I feel. Y'all remember the shot he hit to beat Colorado State at the buzzer. I don't know. I like him. I like him because he played for the Crab Five. I watched quite a bit of him this year. Most prestigious and historic basketball team in history. But yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good pickup for New Orleans. You get two really solid young guys in the lottery here with Jeremiah Fears and then Derek Queen. The thing with Derek Queen is he's a bit undersized. He's only 6'9" at the center position, which is not terrible, but we've seen how that can, especially when you're facing a team like, say, the Thunder, who have two centers really, or like the Timberwolves when they had Cat and Rudy Gobert. You see a lot of teams run, or like the Cavs now with Mobley and Jared Allen. A lot of teams are running that two big man rotation. So Derek Queen, as good as he is, he's going to be undersized at the 5 spot. Zion Williamson, I mean, you can run Zion at the 3 and maybe someone else at the 5, but
And you can
spacing is
give
going to
him
be
a
pretty
Big
rough
Mac.
if you do that. Yeah. Yeah, I saw a tweet that was like Zion saw the Pelicans drafted Dairy Queen and got all excited.
Yeah, dude.
But I mean, I do think Dairy Queen is a really good player. I think he has the tools to be a great power forward in the league. I'll give it a B plus. But as much as I think he's the second best big man in the draft, he's just a little undersized, and especially with the Pelicans, who already have an undersized big man in Zion. I mean, they're strong, but they're short. They're going to struggle to get rebounds and defend in the interior. I just don't know how this Pelicans lineup is going to look this season, but I do really like Derek Queen.
Number 14, Arizona's Carter Bryant goes to the Spurs. Again, from college, you could kind of do it all. He was a pretty good player. He played kind of a weird role at Arizona. It was kind of, Arizona had a lot of vets. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird situation for the Wildcats. But I feel like he can do it all. I feel like he's a good player. And we'll see what's going to happen in San Antonio.
Yeah, I give this one A, maybe A minus. I mean, I think he was the perfect choice for San Antonio here. Fell right into their lap. You already have 3 ball dominant guys in Fox, Castle, and now Dylan Harper. So get a guy who can play really good defense and can move without the ball and still be effective without the ball in his hands. But when the ball is in his hands, can still play make for others and is a really good shooter. I think this is a great pick for the Spurs. He should fit in seamlessly with that core that they have there. And you're really putting a lot of talent around Wemby. So you can go into next season and really see what this team can do. And they're young. I'm not going to say that they're going to win a championship next year or the year after that, but you keep this core together, and they, with the talent that they got in this year, add on Wemby and trading for De'Aaron Fox, the Spurs are going to be really freaking good coming up soon.
At 15, Oklahoma City Thunder, Thomas Sorber. Kind of the bright spot for Georgetown, where there wasn't many. I think he's a good two-way player. He was a young guy. He kind of just took charge. He's coming off a team that I don't think was great, but I think he was the bright spot for Georgetown. So, I don't think this is a terrible pick. I think it's a solid pick.
Now that we're out of the lottery, I'll shorten my my grades and my reaction a little bit here. But I love the pick of Thomas Sorber. I can't believe he fell to the Thunder at 15. Probably the best defender outside of maybe VJ Edgecombe in this draft. Super athletic. There's a really good chance that this kid gets some minutes early on this upcoming season. Just as a defender, he doesn't need to go out and score 20 and rebound 10. He's just got to go out there and play lockdown defense, and that's exactly what he's built for.
16, Yang Hansen to the Portland Trailblazers. I couldn't tell you diddly squat about him. So
I'll give it a B. People are calling this kid potentially the Chinese Nikola Jokic. He's 7'1", got really good playmaking ability, and he can shoot the outside shots. But this is just a surprising pick. Not a lot of people had him this high on their big boards. He is a Clutch Sports not a signee, if you will. So maybe Rich Paul did his magic, got him moved up a little bit, started convincing teams that he has upside. But I'd call this a low risk, low reward pick if you got him at the end of the first round. But picking him at 16, that's definitely some risk. And when he just drafted, it's Portland, not Memphis, as I'm looking at the Memphis logo.
Yeah.
Portland just drafted Donovan Clingan last year too. So now you got 2 really good centers, young centers that could really feed off each other. And especially if they can consistently knock down an outside jumper, they could run that 2 big man lineup that we see a lot nowadays in the NBA.
The 12s, they take Joan Berenger, or is it Berenger? Because he's French. I don't know, but also another guy I don't know anything about. So
I'll give this one like a C plus. I mean, I don't really know much about Joan Berenger either. Supposedly he's a very strong defensive center, and is one of the best shot blockers in the draft. To me, it just seems like the Timberwolves drafted Rudy Gobert 2.0. We'll see. Maybe this guy is more skilled than Rudy Gobert and can do a little bit more on the offensive side of things with the ball in his hands, but doesn't really seem like a player that the Timberwolves needed. So I'll give this one a C+.
At 18, Walter Clayton Jr. Obviously, I think he's a great player. Obviously, national champion, best player on a national championship team. Just a good all-around player. I'll divert to Vinny.
Well, yeah, we know how I feel about Walter Clayton. Would have loved him in Miami. Love his game. Love his, fearlessness with the ball in his hands. Even in the national championship, we saw a bad first half. Second half, he came out, wasn't afraid to shoot that thing. Ultra confident, great work ethic. And, he might be a little bit on the older side compared to some of these other guys drafted. He is 22. He is 6'2", 6'3" at the point guard spot. Could work on his defense. But overall, you combine him and Ace Bailey, that makes a really good duo that you got out of the first round for Utah.
19, Nolan Traore. All you, guy.
I'm personally a big fan of Nolan. It's Traore, however you pronounce it. I'm a big fan of his. Great point guard. He had an inconsistent year, and that kind of hurt his draft stock a little bit. But he was a first round talent through and through. Everyone knew it. The Nets just confused me because they had 5 picks in this first round. This is their second pick that they've gotten in the first round, and they took point guards for both of them. So what do you? The Nets draft process just confused me. I'll give this one a B because I do think Traore is a very talented player, but head scratcher.
And we might just wrap it up with the 20th pick. I feel like for the Miami Heat, KJ out of Illinois. I'm surprised he fell this far. I think he's a great playmaker. I think he did a lot of good things with Illinois, who had a really solid team this season. I think he used his size to his advantage, being 6'5", 6'6", something like that. I think he
is 6'5".
I think he does the right things. He's confident shooting the ball, and I think he's a good two-way player. I feel like he's really good on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I am surprised he fell to 20 as well. A lot of people had him going top 10, top 12. So for him to fall, I know the reason he fell is because after his injury at Illinois, his splits really tumbled. His shooting numbers went down a lot. So you can factor that to the fact that he was injured. And if he comes back, if he goes into the NBA, the version of him before he got injured, he'll do just fine. He was an absolute stud first half of the season at Illinois. I do like that he's a 6'5" guard. I like taller guards. I feel like even though his quickness might be a little bit slow to handle faster guards at the NBA level, he's got the height where he can at least play out on the wing, and you're not worried about him being a mismatch. And I love his pick and roll ability. You put him alongside Bam and Kel'el Ware, that should be Lob City 2.0. He should have no problem finding those guys open, and he can play both the 1 and the 2. So whether you want him or Tyler Hero playing whatever, you can kind of swap him in and out. I mean, not that he's going to start right away. It's going to be Davion Mitchell at the point guard to begin the season, but I could certainly see this kid getting some minutes, from Eric Spoelstra this season, just because, Miami loves getting their rookies minutes and loves to see what they're all about.
Well, it was a good show. It didn't start too hot.
But we made it.
We had to restart, but we made it through. We did our thing.
We did. We made it. Shout out to you for figuring out how to get us on.
We do what we can with what we got. Yeah, I mean, NBA draft, it continues. Obviously, usually no one really, besides the first round, is hyped in any sport. It's kind of just always the first round.
There's some names I'm intrigued about in the second round, but yeah, nothing. It doesn't have the same.
Yeah, it doesn't have the
Mood
same
as the
juice.
Nah, not at all.
Shout out to W. W Energy. Go to w.gg. Use code RFS. You get yourself 10% off your order. They got shaker bottles. They got pre-workout / energy powder that you can use gaming, the gym. You can use whatever you want. It's all natural. Cherry extract, coffee extract. You know, they don't put that crap in it that you don't like. So check out W.
Exactly.
It's pretty gas. I finished my tub. I don't know where it went. I gotta prop it back up over there. But yeah, it's been a good show. Bruce Juno and Vinny Fredericks on the Regular Fan Show. Check us out on socials. The Regular Fan Show. Just type it on in. You'll see us. Give us a follow. We are kind of the goats. So give us a follow, and also if you wanna send in some clips, we're trying to think of maybe reacting to some people's clips. See who's goated out there.
Yeah, send in some videos, some reaction. We'll react to it. You got a question for us? Let us know. We'll answer it. Always love interacting with you guys our weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it be you posting up, you scoring a goal, or you just reacting to something or doing something funny, we're down to take a look at it. So feel free to send them in. Probably via, I don't know, email maybe. I don't know. Send them in. Find a way.
Send them to theregularfanshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, do what you gotta do. Get us those clips. We'll take a look at them. We enjoy it. But for now, this has been the Regular Fan Show with Bruce Juno and Vinny Fredericks. We'll be back next week after probably another jam-packed weekend of sports. So stay tuned for what we got going on, and yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Yes, sir. Peace out, everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Take care.